Why, hello YouTube. It's been a while since I've made a video. Judging by the fact that I'm actually posting this video, I'm keeping my channel up for the time being, but that's besides the point. It's a below zero day. The wind is howling outside, and my furnace has decided to break down. If I reach in here and I try and turn the motor for the fan, it's stiff. And it's squeaking and it's having a very hard time getting up to speed. So I've looked around and I figured that I can take this thing out and I can disassemble it and I can try and clean and lube the bearings up. So this is the control board for the furnace. The brains under here, you can hear that wind. We've been gusting over 50 tonight. There's a safety switch here that powers it on, and then down here, because my furnace blows down, it's kind of inverted from most furnaces, but this is the inducer motor, and then the burners are under there in a sealed thing. I've got the power shut off, and there's a screw under here and a screw under here that hold the control board in place. And I'm probably going to have to put the camera down here to do this, but I can get it out. And I can unplug all the wires and I can set that aside, and then I can get the blower motor out. Okay, so I've found the right screw. Again, our power is cut, so I'm not going to get shocked. There's another screw under here. And I caught it with my fingers. So then the control board just comes out of here like this. So yeah, these are where the thermostats come in, and then there are sensors, and these are the power wires for the fan. I'm going to have to unhook all those. Alright, so these are all the different wire plugs for the fan. There's the neutral wire here, and then there's 4 different wires that lets you select 4 different speeds. And then there's a run start capacitor here, and I've just got the control board hanging off to the side. And so looking in here, it's just undo this screw and undo this screw down here, and then this whole thing will slide out. Alright, well, here goes nothing. So yeah, way down there is the heat exchanger for the furnace. I might take my vacuum and just go in there and vacuum it out. But yeah, here's the motor on my kitchen floor, and yeah, this thing's pretty filthy. So there are 3 bolts that hold it on here, and then the whole thing sits in a cradle. So let me go get some tools and let me undo this. Well, before I do anything here, I need to undo this set screw to get the motor out of the cradle. So fortunately I found, I don't have a box ended wrench with me, but I have a socket that'll do that, so I'll just undo that. And yeah, this will just come right out. And I can flip it over and I can start undoing the bolts for the cradle. So yeah, I got the bolts undone. Boom. And it just sits on these rubber vibration mounts, and the rubber, as I feel it, is still rubbery, so I think that's good. I've got a run start capacitor here. I'll just momentarily short that in case it's got a charge, because I've got to unhook that. But with the bolts undone, this thing should just boink, lift right out. Oh yeah, this thing's filthy. Trying to undo this cradle is an absolute pain because this nut is kind of in there really good. They just have an ordinary lock. I think this is just, if I know the markings right, I think that this is a locking nut. But it looks like that I can just get this thing off of here. It is loose. There we go. We have a General Electric 1/3 1075 horsepower, 60 hertz. Thermally protected, so there's a thing in here to shut it off if it overheats. But yeah. And as I play with this, I feel a little bit of play in this front bearing here, so I'm thinking that maybe this bearing is shot and that I'll have to get a new motor. It is stiff, so it was squeaking. Boom, that's one nut. That's two nuts. There's a lot of grime on this motor. I'll wrap it with a screwdriver, and we should have access. Alright, the stator's out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this thing's filthy. This thing's just absolutely filthy. As I feel this top bearing here, I don't know how much play you're supposed to have in these things, but I've got a feeling that that's not normal. We'll see how much the back one has. How hot is the stator here? That's not too bad. How much play does this back bearing have? Yeah, it's got almost none at all, so yeah. I'm gonna have to replace the motor because this front bearing is worn down. Either that or the shaft on it is worn. But in the meantime, I've got a temporary plan in mind to just kind of hopefully loop me through the winter until I can get this replaced. So to help me out here, I got some brake cleaner that I can just use to degrease and clean these two bits here. And then I've got some oil that I can put in here because I know that there are slots in there for oil to go. So first things first, let's get these rotors cleaned off. Or I should say, let's get these end caps cleaned off, then we'll get this rotor cleaned off. So yeah, here's the front and back motor covers for the blower motor after I've brake cleaned them. I didn't do anything, I just wiped down the shell of the motor. I didn't actually spray the cleaner in there because I don't think that's good for the windings. But yeah, this is the front one, and if I hold it up and I put it on here, now that I've got it all, I mean, I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, there's like a rubber seal in here that's dried out and broken. And when it's down to where it's supposed to be, there's an awful lot of play in it. So I think that I'm going to have to go get a new motor from Granger just as soon as the weather turns nice. But in the meantime, that's not supposed, I don't think that's supposed to be like that at all. But if I look at the back one here, I'll just take that. This has no play in it. And you can actually hear it rubbing against the bearing surfaces. But since I've got it cleaned and degreased, I don't think it'll gum up and seize like it did, or get stiff. I might hit it one more time just to make sure that everything's out of there, but I've got this multi-purpose long-lasting lubricant that I'm going to spray in there, because there's like little foam pads in here that hold oil. And so I think I'll get in there and I'll spray those down, and then I'll put this back together. And hopefully this will get me through this cold stretch of weather that we're going to have coming up. So yeah, I'm just going to go blink. I'm going to turn it. Actually, there's no pad there. Here's a pad. I know that I probably still have some brake cleaner in here, and that's probably going to screw up the pads, but I can see where the pad sticks out right there. So that was the back cover. Now here's the front cover. Where are those pads? I'm getting air in here. Ugh, yeah, there's dried rubber in there, so yeah, I'm definitely going to have to replace this. And then there's the lubricating pad that's in the bearing shell. I'll try and get some on there. So yeah, let's get this motor back together and we'll see if I made things worse or if I made things better. Okay guys, so I noticed something very interesting here. If I hold the motor so that the wiring harness is up and I give the shaft a spin, it spins pretty nicely. But if I turn it on its side, it's very stiff. So obviously it wants, or it's much happier being up this way. So I think when I reinstall the motor in this cradle, I'm going to orient it so that the wiring harness is pointed up, and hopefully I'll have enough room to get it in there, because at least that way it'll spin more freely. So one thing I observed right away is that the wires are going to be interfering with the fan, and I don't want that happening because obviously these wires carry electricity, so I've just kind of looped them off with a little bit of 12 gauge neutral that I had lying around. And the wires for the run capacitor aren't going to make it because it's over here, but I can relocate that fairly simply, so we'll get this back in and we'll get this hookied up. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. I put the motor housing in backwards. Well, I'm not too far along, so this shouldn't be too bad of a fix to correct. But yeah, the wires should never be sitting in there. So yeah, I just realized that. So I will pause and correct. Okay, I've properly reinstalled the bracket for the motor, and so now I can stick it back in and I can run the wires, and hopefully this works. Oh yeah. It spins much nicer now. She's not stiff or anything, so this should get me through the winter, although I still have the pesky little chore of relocating this little thing. Well, it turns out that I didn't have to relocate it. If I got all the wires out of here just right, I've got enough to reach over here, and it's not pulling or sitting on, these aren't under any serious tension, so I think that this will suffice for now. But yeah, that spins a lot more freer than it used to. So I'm going to go get my vacuum now, and I'm going to vacuum up my heat exchanger. Okay, that's all vacuumed out. Now I'm going to put the fan back in. So there are tabs. The housing catches. Okay, which screw? It's this one. Down to 64 in here. And there's the other hole for that. Okay, blower motor is installed. Now I can get the control board hooked back up. And I can stick that back in here. And we can actually get heat in here. Okay, so this is the neutral wire. There is a label on here for neutral. And then there is black wire, which is the high-speed wire, which goes to cool. And then I'm just going to put the, I think the, I remember a red wire. Stay put. There's a motor schematic on here. There's a schematic down here for the blower, and red is low speed, so I know that heat is supposed to be low and then AC is supposed to be high, so, and then there are two spare terminals on here for the one that's for the ones that you're not using. Then they're just dead terminals. Oh yeah. Power off. So yeah, black, red is the that makes a lot of noise though. I think yellow is like the second highest speed for heat. Oh yeah. And I'll put it on that neutral tap there, or that spare tap there. And I'll button this up and we'll actually put the heat on for real. Okay, so I've got the cover buttoned up. Let's go turn on the heat and warm this place back up here. Igniter should be coming on. Well, we should get the fan here. Here we go. Hot air. There are those burners puffing away. But yeah, I think we're about as fixed as it's going to be. I'm still going to have to get a new motor, but hopefully this little ditty here should last me the whole winter. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I will be continuing to be able to do these videos.